Hey guys, Harry here and welcome to another Summer Transfer Targets video. Today we're looking at Arsenal, who obviously play in the BPL under manager Arsene Wenger. They've guided the team to third position this season, which is very good for Arsenal. They normally come fourth, so this is an improvement, although next year they'll hope to go for the Championship. Moving on to the transfers, starting with Raheem Sterling of Liverpool. Now he's been heavily linked in recent weeks to be wanting to leave the club. He's got 7 goals, 10 assists in the Premier League, which is very good for an attacking midfielder, but people still think he shouldn't be leaving Liverpool at this stage, but it looks like he wants to leave the club, as I said. 20 years old, still very young player, born in England, and would be a very good addition to Arsenal's team. Moving on to a central midfielder who is of course Paul Pogba of Juventus. He used to play at United but left because of a lack of game time. Scores a lot of long shots, has got 8 goals this season, most of which are long shots. Not too many assists, he's got 2 assists in his league this season, but would be a brilliant world-class addition to Arsenal's squad if they could get him. It's unlikely he'll want to leave in this summer's transfer window because Juventus have just got to the Champions League final. They could win it at this stage, it hasn't been played, and that would be a huge achievement for them. Still 22 years old, so still very young for a footballer, and born in France and plays for the French national team. Moving on to Jackson Martinez of FC Porto. He's been a very clinical player this season, 8 goals in the Champions League and 21 for Porto in the Portuguese Liga. 28 years old, so arguably in the prime of his career, plays for the Colombian national team, and as I said, is a striker. Very quick player, and when he gets the opportunity will more than often finish the ball off, and would be a great addition to Arsenal's front line. Of course they've got Giroud, who I think is a very good player, although some people might disagree with me, but they do need to reinforce that attack in my opinion, and Welbeck really isn't clinical enough to be a striker in my opinion. Moving on to a central defender who is of course Moussa Hummels. Per Mertesacker, he's been decent for Arsenal in recent years, but arguably he's getting to the end of his career, and Moussa Hummels would be the perfect replacement. Borussia Dortmund have missed out the Champions League this season after such a poor start, and Moussa Hummels has been rumoured to be leaving to a club like either Manchester United or Arsenal in the BPL, so this would be a great addition to the squad. Positionally, he's second to none, he's very good, and of course he won the World Cup with Germany last year. 26 years old, so another player getting to the peak of his career. Moving on to Morgan Schneiderlin of Southampton, another central midfielder. He was heavily linked with Tottenham and Arsenal in the last transfer window, but that seemed to have settled down as Southampton have done very well this season. Still could be possible, still could move to Arsenal. He's got 4 goals and 2 assists for Southampton this season, and is a large reason for their success this season, but we'll just have to see what happens. He would add a bit of solidity and strength to that Arsenal midfield, so it would be a good addition to the squad, and he's currently 25 years old. Moving on to another strong, powerful midfielder, which is of course Moussa Sissoko of Newcastle. Newcastle have had a horrific season this season after making quite a good start, to be honest. They won 8 they lost 8 games in a row under John Carver, which is very bad of course, and they could still get relegated with 1 game left to go. We'll just have to see. So Moussa Sissoko, one of the best players, might be wanted to leave, and a club like Arsenal would be perfect for him in my opinion. They've got loads of trickery players that can play tricks, you know, very intricate skills, very good dribblers, but they don't really have that powerful player in the middle of the park such as Vieira they used to have. So Moussa Sissoko, 26 years old, would be very good player, and he plays for France and born in France. Another attacking midfielder could be Ross Barkley of Everton. Now he's been criticised for not producing enough goals and assists in his playing career. He's only got 3 assists in his last 60 appearances, but for me that doesn't really tell the whole story. He's a very good player, very powerful, likes to dribble past a lot of players, and obviously as he'll get older, he's only 21 years old, he will develop into a very good player. It's been rumoured he might leave for between 25 and 35 million, which I think would be a good price for a club like Arsenal. He's also been rumoured to be going to Manchester City. We'll just have to see. In my opinion, he probably won't leave in this summer transfer window, but as I said, you just don't know. Moving on to Virgil van Dijk, who's been a large factor in Celtic's success in the league once again. Very, very good positionally. Not the fastest defender, but he will always be the right position in corners and free kicks, and will always be there to clear the ball. Also can score a few goals as well, corners and free kicks. He's scored quite a few for Celtic this season. 24 years old, so still relatively young, but a very experienced player, and hasn't quite got into the Netherlands starting lineup yet, but I'm sure he will do in the future. Moving on to Yassine Brahimi of FC Porto. He's scored 12 goals in 40 appearances for them this season in all competitions. He was heavily linked at the last summer transfer window to be moving to a club like Tottenham or Arsenal, just to add a bit of trickery and pace on the wings, but that seems to have settled down now. Doesn't look as likely to happen, but nevertheless could still happen because he's a very, very good player. Lots of trickery, 25 years old, so arguably getting into the peak of his career, and as I said before, 12 goals and 40 appearances is not bad. Moving on to a right back which has been heavily linked to leave the club in this window. That is Dani Alves of Barcelona. I'm a very big fan of his. Very, very good player in my opinion. Attacking wise, he's probably the best right back in the world. He always overlaps. He's always providing assists to Messi. So much so he's provided the most assists to Messi's goals. And Messi's got over 400 goals, so that says something in itself. But as I said, the club and himself need to agree a contract agreement, otherwise it doesn't look likely that he will stay. He wants to stay apparently, but if he doesn't, Arsenal would be a very, very good club for him. Of course they've got Debuchy in the right back position, but I think Dani Alves would be a very, very good addition to them. They've got Bellerin as well, but Dani Alves would add that bit of experience at 31 years old. Moving on to a Manchester City player, which is James Milner. Now he normally plays as an attacking midfielder. Very, very hard working player, good dribbler of the ball, and can of course score the odd free kick. Definitely you would say the peak of his career at 29 years old. Normally is in the England fold-up, not always starting, but will get picked generally by Roy Hodgson at the minute. And as I said, he just works very, very hard for the team, so would be a good addition to Arsenal's squad. Just that kind of player that can make tackles when needed to, and get the odd goal as well, and make a few assists. Moving on to Fabio Coentrao of Real Madrid. Now he suffered from a lack of game time, only making 19 appearances for Real Madrid this season, because of course Marcelo is the favourite to play that position. He's been linked in the past to move to clubs like Manchester United. It was heavily rumoured that that would happen in the last window and the window before that, but it never happened. Maybe this window he will move to a club like Arsenal or United. Very, very good player. Of course has linked up well with Cristiano Ronaldo and could form a similar bond with the likes of Sanchez on the left. We'll just have to see. 27 years old. They've got Monreal and Gibbs in that position, so they do have quite a strong two players in that position, but Coentrao would improve it in my opinion. Born in Portugal and plays for the Portuguese national team. Moving on to the 13th player who's had a very, very good season this season, scoring 2 goals and 4 assists, and contributing largely to the 9 assists West Ham have picked up. That is of course Aaron Cresswell, who is English and has played very, very well this season. Very good attackingly. He's always getting up the pitch, overlapping his team and crossing it in. Plays in the left back position and would be a very good addition to Arsenal's squad. Still very young at 25 years old, and as I said, would be a very good player. Moving on to the penultimate player, which is Petr Cech of Chelsea. Now he's had a very disappointing season for himself because he's only played 6 appearances because of the introduction of Courtois into the starting lineup. In these 6 appearances, however, he has got 5 clean sheets, which proves how good a goalkeeper he is. But as I said, it is likely he will leave the club because of a lack of game time. Possibly to United if David De Gea leaves, but it could be to Arsenal as well. Spain has been very good for them this season, but Szczesny looks like he might leave because of a lack of game time. Cech's 33 years old, which is, you know, for a goalkeeper that's a very good age to be getting to the peak of his career. Born in the Czech Republic and plays for the Czech Republic national team. And our final player is Gonzalo Higuain of FC Napoli. A very, very clinical striker, getting 27 goals in 57 appearances in all competitions this season. Often plays with Argentina with the likes of Aguero and Messi up front, a deadly force up front, but has been rumoured to want to leave the club for a new start, a new challenger, and Arsenal in the Premier League would be a very, very good option. Hasn't played in the Premier League before, so you know, improves the chance of him leaving, and he has been heavily rumoured in the last few days actually that he will leave to Arsenal. So that's the video, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Please bear in mind at the time you were watching, some of these players may already have moved to Arsenal or indeed different clubs, so bear that in mind when watching. Leave a like if you've enjoyed, subscribe if you want to see more, click the transfer targets playlist at the bottom right to see more videos, and goodbye.